Hello, everybody, and welcome back to CCA League Season 7. We are live with a Division 2 match. I'm Chaedr, joined today by my lovely co-commentator, Vapor. How's it going?
Hey, we are here. We are back with the CCA. This is a week number 2 reschedule matchup between Are You Ready and the Bull Squids. Are You Ready out of Rowan University and the Bull Squids out of the University at Buffalo.
Now, looking at their records so far in the CCA season, I believe Bull Squids is 2-0 in their sets, and Are You Ready is 1-1, meaning that if Bull Squids wins this set here, they are going to be able to secure a spot in the Division 2 playoffs. So, a lot of stakes for them here in this, technically Week 2 match.
Yeah, well, week 2 matchup rescheduled. Hey, play a little bit later if you're not free because of spring break or for whatever reason.
I just got back from my spring break trip like literally an hour ago.
Exactly. Like I got back this past weekend. Some people are starting to return back from their own spring breaks. So hey, we will see what happens with our first matchup. Going to be on Clam Blitz Scorch Gorge.
Oh boy. Okay. This one's a fun one. It has been a hot second since I've played anything competitively, but even then I remember that Scorched Clams is not my favorite. I don't like Scorched that much, but it seems to be well liked in the community enough for it to continue to come back and make its appearance in tournaments.
Yeah, it's always hit or miss with Scorched Clams. It's always hit or miss. You either have the best matchup of a lifetime, or it could be pretty one-sided and the other team struggles to get back into mid.
So yeah, it can. Sometimes the lockouts here can feel really, really cruel. Like, it's not like other maps where I would say it's super common to get locked out. For example, like Umami, I feel like it's very easy to find yourself in a lockout position. But with something like this, if you have a lockout, it feels bad. It feels awful. Anyway, let's check out the team comps that we've got coming out here. We got a tri-stringer, the Inkline one, coming out from Captain Yowie here on the side of Are You Ready?
Yeah.
Oh, and that's Heavy Splatling. I love Heavy Splatling. Thank you, Heavy Splatling, coming out there.
Out of Roy on that Heavy Splatling. They're going to be the one to take on that Inkline tri-stringer in the long-range department, as it's going to be Balloon here early on, throwing some suction bombs, trying to build up that crab tank, but ends up rolling back right into a Booyah Bomb by the opposing Forge throw, dropping right in, working around with their team. Josh on the S-Blast, last one up for the side for the Bull Squids, but it's going to be Are You Ready? Keeping this offensive pressure going here early on, trying to get plans out to Goldie, and opens up that basket. First points on the board.
Great coordination, and immediately getting a couple of small clams in right after that, bringing that to 74. Have the Booyah Bomb as well to keep that area underneath the basket. Score is at 59 and counting. They've made it past that 60 benchmark, which is so important. They do only have 2 up right now, and with Sinline and the Wave Breaker and the Cooler coming out from Bull Squids, eventually that push seems to be over. Get one more clam in for the road, bringing that to 56 with penalty points of 22. So that is more than one power clam. The next time that Are You Ready wants to push, they are going to have to put in an additional clam in order to get points on the board. However, not a bad push at all for the first one of the game. Again, making it past that 60 benchmark is very, very important. Now, Bull Squids are trying to make their way back into mid. You see another Wave Breaker coming out from the Heavy Splatling. Of course, after that painting buff, it is going to be putting those things out to left and right. But Roy not only putting out the paint, but putting out the picks as well, and bringing the Bull Squids to have a full power clam here with another Wave Breaker, having to avoid the Booyah Bomb and not quite making it out, unfortunately. It looks like another member is down as well. So even with this Booyah Bomb that's going to come out, I think Bull Squids has to cut their losses, unfortunately, and walk back. JP's Fine is going to enforce that with a nice double.
Yeah, huge play there. That allows Rowan University to get back control of mid, and the Bull Squids back on the back foot right now. No points on the board out of that last attempt, so it's all Rowan right now. So here goes that crab tank from Leo Bloom, trying to work with their Tri-Slosher teammate picks up that power clam, but this Booyah Bomb is going to force him back. JP's fine, scores that power clam in for a wipeout and potentially more points on the board with finding a few more clams in.
Yeah, the rest of Are You Ready going back to try and get those clams. Bull Squids have respawned in. JP's fine, trying to hold down the fort here, taking this angle from the left, but eventually deciding to drop back here. All the way at 31 right now for Are You Ready. Trying to see if they can get anything else in, but that means the push is over again. A very, very good place to be as we head into the back 2 minutes of this match. And they didn't even lose mid. They still have a lot of positioning here and almost at the chumps from the Tri-Stringer as well. Bull Squids has a very uphill battle to fight here. We do see the Booyah Bomb at the ready as well as the Wave Breaker. Julie's going down before they can do Crab, and Booyah gets canceled here, unfortunately. So even with all of that, Sinline is going to get the cooler out here, but not too many teammates up to grab it immediately. We have a Booyah Bomb coming out from JP's fine right onto Roy again, who just barely manages to dive out of the way in time, but then is finished off by the main weapon on that pro there, getting another pick, and the Flow Aura continues to be activated as we see yet another power clam in. Go for Are You Ready?
Yeah, trying to keep this points to a minimum. Going around the backside is going to be the NZAP getting picked off by Leo Bloom on that Crab Tank. And we're down to the final minute as the Trizuka from Rowan continues to slow down Buffalo from getting back into mid. There goes the Wave Breaker by Roy. The Tri-Slosher ends up going down, and it's going to be the Booyah Bomb from Rowan University once again, moving right through, holding this line as far forward as possible. Here goes the Tacticooler from Goalie, moving up with their team as two members of Buffalo end up going down once again, but it's going to be Josh on this S-Blast, finding two of their own, looking for a third, but ends up getting picked off, and another going down, being the power clam holder. They have to find a way to get control furthermore, but it's going to be one down after another with 10 seconds left on the clock.
Roy just barely living, able to duck down behind that block down there. Josh is coming out. Leo Bloom picks up the clam, and this might be exactly what they need as we have the Booyah Bomb coming out as well. The chumps coming out though, but they make their way through. Leo Bloom doing their absolute best, getting the clam in, getting a trade, but with that, unfortunately, the other three cannot make it in, despite Sinline able to put the cooler out. That is a wipeout in favor of Are You Ready? Throwing that clam off the map in celebration at the very end of it, and our first match goes to Are You Ready?
Yeah, Are You Ready showing out strong here early on, and with a 1-1 record throughout these first few weeks so far, they are trying to pull it back into a 2-1 themselves to keep themselves in playoff contention. But that ending, that was a huge opportunity for the University at Buffalo to get points on the board. But Leo Bloom ends up finding a trade instead of coming up cleanly, and the rest of their team ended up going down behind them.
Yeah, unfortunately, it just wasn't meant to work out. Overtime pushes, of course, can get very scrappy, can get very uncoordinated. And so I think at that point, it was just Leo might have been a little bit too far forward. And despite getting a trade after getting the clam in isn't necessarily the end of the world if your team is able to follow up. But unfortunately, they weren't at that point in time. And, once you wipe out in overtime, there's really no coming back from that.
Yeah, just a little bit unfortunate there, but hey, new map, we reset this, going forward over to Splat Zones on Barnacle and Dime this time around.
Okay, so arguably a different beast entirely. You got the big zone to work with, and I think, lockouts, though possible on this map, don't necessarily feel as punishing. You definitely have more ways to make your way in, more vantage points at least to look over the pit or the places that your opponents might be lurking. I do wonder whether we are going to continue to see the heavy splatling. I think so. I mean, we're going to zones, and the paint output of heavy splatling after that buff is crazy, as I'm sure all of you guys watching already know. It is pretty much taken over X rank, that and Dynamo. And though it did receive I believe points for special nerf, in the most recent update, it still seems very dominant in its role as this just very annoying paint outputter, especially with the sprinklers and wave breakers.
Yeah, and I won't be surprised if we see that Heavy return on this map either. I would personally say that this is one of Heavy's best maps against other backline weapons as well. Maybe except for like a Sniper Rider, a lot of paint with that range. A little bit too much to handle, but I'd say maybe a little bit of an edge over something against like an E-Leader if we end up seeing that rolling out for this map. But of course, we shall see. We're only one game through this, so it is anyone's turn this time around. That Incline Tri-Stringer will return, and we will go off of Heavy Splatling in favor of a Mini Splatling, but the Dynamo is going to make a show.
Our Vanilla Dynamo is coming out, as is our Vanilla Blaster. A couple of switch-ups coming out here from both squids as we roll in. And that, they are rewarded with the first pick of the zone here. Josh rolling out very forward, getting one pick, but going down again. Does take out Goldie, though, which means no cooler for the time being. And we do have more in another trade coming out here. Leo Bloom, far forward, does have the cooler, which is out for them. That is great. Hammer coming out as well. And Bull Squids looking in a very good position as they pass the 70 mark. Leo Bloom almost to that crab, and of course this nice immediate double from that crab. Great positioning, forcing a third jump out, and Goldie forced to back up as the last remaining member. The members of Are You Ready coming back very quickly, but Leo Bloom not wasting any time holding down the fort, engaging Gold here, who is going to opt to jump back, but we are already at 28, 27 and counting. The Booyah Bomb does come out. One Mini Splatling is down, but the rest of the three are still up. Sinline is still here with the Dynamo putting out that paint. We might see 100-0. These chumps do go through, but they are very quickly painted over by that Dynamo in the single digits. Now we do see the zone flip. No 100-0 as Rush University sweeps in, gets that wipeout, and says we are still in it to win it. But that 73-point penalty applied, we now have a lot to work through for Bull Squids.
But for the Bull Squids, that crab tank from Leo was the key maker towards that lockout. But now it's time for them to find a way back in. Roy with this Ultra Stamp trying to make its way through, unable to find anyone. Big Bubble does end up rolling out, and there goes that crab tank once again, able to help get that zone back into the favor of Buffalo, and finding multiple down before setting up right back into lockout position.
Lockout position indeed. Leo Bloom having the flow aura here, that little bit of an edge, allowing them to just kind of dart around and be a distraction here, but staying a little far back, doesn't want to risk their life. Zuka coming out, Chumps coming out, all these specials onto the zone. Booyah as well does flip the zone. We do in fact see a full control flip as Roy on the Mini Splatling is the last one being forced to back up. Does have that hammer, but are they going to be able to get out? No, they are not. And so with control flip, Rush University is in a nice looking position here, charging up that Booyah. That is their soonest special. They do lose the shot, so no Zuka for the time being, but that's okay because they have the Booyah, and we've seen JP's try to do a huge amount of work with this. We do see the hammer come out, and Captain Yowie just barely managing to get out of the way. I think maybe if that had been pre-patch hammer, they might have gone down there, but it is not, as that hammer throw box just received a nerf, and that is a full wipeout there, actually, in favor of Are You Ready, as that cooler goes down before it can get popped, and now we are in a very similar situation as we were at the beginning of this match, heading into these single digits here. The Tri-Stringer goes down, Sinline on that Dynamo doing their best to come out and take anything, but unfortunately, the Dynamo alone cannot outpaint the rest of the team, and Rush University flips that match for a second win.
Yeah, Rowan University doing a very good job
I don't know
here
where I got
early on.
Thank you for correcting me.
Yeah, Rowan University, very good on their retakes, very good at that team play aspects and working together, but looking on the side of the Bull Squids for University at Buffalo, their team has been really good once you head in towards this lockout. That crab tank just pushing everyone out of the way right here. All four members of Rowan University were on top of each other. Really good usage of that crab tank, but it's going to be this retake right here from Rowan University that switched this game on its head.
Yeah, Gold was able to get there into the zone in the nick of time. I think any later and without a little bit of support from their teammates, and that match would have been history, but they were able to do so. And so now our score stands 2-0. Of course, that match a lot closer than the score makes it out to be, but we will move on. We will check out our next map mode in the set. That is going to be Rainmaker on Manta Maria. Not something you see nearly as often in a lot of other tournaments, but hey, we're CCA, and sometimes you are put into settings that you are not used to. We are going to go immediately into it. Oh my goodness, these teams know what they want.
They know what they want, and this map can be played very slowly or very fast-paced. And having that end zap return with that tactical or the dynamo as well will definitely help out with that. But Josh is going to be switching off that blaster that we've seen them play the last two games. They're going to go over to this splatter shot, Trizuka, to give them a little bit more options to poke out that tri-stringer and try to limit the amount of super jumps that the opponents can get. But Gold here early on, rolling into the bunker, able to find Roy. Two members down on both sides. Trizuka finds Leo as well. Josh right behind that wall. Gold sees him, but the counter Zuka from Josh is going to force Gold to go back on that flank. And we are here neutral early on.
Can I point out those dapples as well? That is the new well, not new, but that is the third dapples kit, and those have whales. Of course, you've got the street and elbow region that the Rainmaker generally has to go through, so those whales can be really devastating in there. Bull Squids in a nice position here. Finally able to come and pick up that Rainmaker, headed up to this first checkpoint. Juking out the suction bomb. They gotta wait just another second. Able to get it right before that Booyah Bomb goes off in the elbow section. There are the whales. You can see they're nicely used offensively as well to clear out this. And they do go down almost immediately afterwards. If you're not aware, that drop right after the Rainmaker is a very, very important position in Manta because you get a lot of points. You get something like 25 or 30 from dropping down there. But if you die before you touch the ground, that Rainmaker gets reset back to the top of the ledge. So teams are going to be going for that drop. That is a very important position to get the Rainmaker in. Now, it's not happened yet, but of course, we're very early on in this match. That Rainmaker is going to reset back to mid. Azuka coming out from Gold there on the side as Roy trying to come in, intercepting it. The hammer rush mode. Are they going to get the pick on Gold? Yes, they do. And one more throw for the Red.
Yeah, and unable to escape there from the Frozen, or from that Forge Pro. Josh trying to take this fight, trying to get that super jump, but ends up going down anyway. Now, JP's fine, trying to play around this tactical, or trying to anchor out their teammates back in, but all the members around them going down, forced back to their own street. Trizuka now from Josh as Rainmaker picked up for University at Buffalo. The Bull Squid trying to make a push, but Gold is right back there to shut it down. Finding two, finding three. It's only Josh versus Gold here on the field, but Josh is going to get away for now, getting their teams back into mid.
Yeah, Gold having that flow aura for a good chunk of that there. The Rainmaker going to reset, it looks like. There it goes back to mid. We are headed into the latter half of our match here with Roy, yet another hammer throw and another pick and a double there, looking for the third here with some support from Josh, forcing Gold all the way off to the side and jumping out, which means the Cooler is going to come out in mid. Sinline again going to pick that up, and hopefully more points are going to go onto the board. Have to be careful with the Booyah. It goes behind, forces Sinline forward, and they get caught in the crossfire of the Forge and the barbs from the Tri-Stringer. So no dice there on increasing the points, and meanwhile, we do see Rowan University able to pick up this here. Looks like they're going to maybe go for the cut. I don't see any. Oh, no, there is someone there. Okay, Leo Bloom catches on, starts throwing bombs there, and effectively cut is shut down. So they are going to have to take this the long way around.
Yeah, trying to get this defensive pressure going. The Bull Squids throwing out all of those specials, throwing out a lot of paint, especially with this Dynamo getting really good angles from that bunker. 3 members down on the side of Rowan. Are you ready on the back foot? Just about 70 seconds left of this game, and the Bull Squids, they have that checkpoint. They pushed it over to 49 points remaining, and it's going to be up to work with it. This Booyah Bomb that JP's Fine has ready to go, but with that tri-stringer going down, it's not going to look good to start out.
No, it is not. 45 seconds left on that clock. Another Zuka coming out from Bull Squids there, and a responding one from Gold, and the Whales coming out as well, and the Cooler. All of these specials are getting popped in these last few seconds here, but Josh getting 1, getting 2, and a third going down. This is, I mean, another one goes down for them, the floor activates. This could be a shutdown to end the game here unless a miracle happens. I don't even know if Are You Ready is going to be able to get to that Rainmaker in time. All 4 members up and the Tri-Stringer going down, and that Hammer at the ready. Gold is going to try and again go on to cut. We might see something sneaky happen here if they can get the pick off on Roy, who has the hammer, but they get the pick. Has to take out Josh here if they want a chance of winning, but Leo puts it up, and gets the triple, gets the quad! Gets the quad here, and that means overtime as JP's Fine is going to grab that and run it forward to the checkpoint, wasting unfortunately precious seconds going down there as the checkpoint wasn't painted, but that pop is going to go again to Are You Ready? So much fire, another Zuka there, and then like somehow they lift up at 2 going down. Josh is still there though, just holding the button, and JP's Fine is going to go out and take the lead!
Huge awareness right there, knowing that when the Bull Squids made a push of their own, they did not go all the way against the wall. They ran a little bit towards it and then tried to dash for the drop. But instead, Rowan University's JP's Fine is able to realize that, grabs that Rainmaker and just runs straight at the wall. But this triple, make that a quad by Gold, was the game changer. If you saw on that overhead right before this, all of the Bull Squids were playing to lock out that left side, and Gold took advantage of that. And then once they saw a chance, they tried to rush to pick up the Rainmaker to end overtime. And as Josh popped that Trizuka, it was just perfect timing for JP's Fine on that Splattershot Pro Forge to grab that Rainmaker, run straight at the wall right between those Trizuka shots.
And you can see Roy popping that hammer at the very end as well, likely expecting JP's Fine to go further, to the right in that elbow area, like you mentioned. But I think the combination of JP's Fine, whether it was a conscious understanding or not, to go directly forward for the wall, and then Roy, of course, being caught in that first swing startup of the hammer, meant that there was nobody firing on the Rainmaker at that point in time. And so the border could be crossed, and overtime could be ended, the lead could be got. But, wow, we talk about, I feel like every time Manta comes up, especially Rainmaker, you gotta talk about cut, right? And that cut, awareness of that, Gold hugging those cuts from the beginning to the very end of the game, I feel like we went full circle, won them the game, but we're going to head right into our next and possibly final match. I believe we're in best of 7, yes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
okay, yes, thank you.
Match point, set point, Rowan University looking to close it out here, but the Bull Squids not giving it up just yet. Same comps on both sides, and it's going to be the Bull Squids going 1 down, make that 2 down early on, advantage Rowan.
Yeah, advantage indeed. They do lose the B shot there, but with, Goldie going down on tower as well, but they were coolered, so not a huge problem for them as well. Lots of picks happening in the first 30 seconds of this game. JP's Fine putting out that Booyah Bomb and hopping back again on that tower. Cooler is out for Bull Squids as well, so they are not not a problem for them. The Whales and the Crossfire pressure pushing JP's Fine off the tower, but it's okay, they go right back on. Roy, though, almost dying there, is able to get the hammer out, gets the throw, but no dice on that. I think the nerf is unfortunately not in their favor at this point. Josh here in a very aggressive position, going to go around and get the pick from behind on Gold, and looking to take JP's Fine by surprise, but no dice on there as they get one and get another one there. again, huge work, aggressive work coming out from JP's Fine on the Forge Pro here with Gold. Just going to continue to apply pressure down this right side of the map, apply paint as well. Forced out, though. We do have one special on the board, and it is from that Vanilla Tri-Stringer. Actually, we did swap kits there.
Yeah, Vanilla Tri-Stringer rolling its way out, get a little bit of killer whale action going as this Hammer trying to pincer out with their team, but in return they go to down, make that 3 on the side of the University at Buffalo, and now Rowan trying to move this tower once again, finding the pick onto the Dapple Doolies. That's going to be Josh slowing down this tower once more. Neither team has gotten more than 20 points to their name this game.
Yeah, we're seeing a very stally game here as both teams are just continuously going into getting these picks. There's another one, the Tri-Stringer done. That's 2 down on the side of Rowan University as finally we are getting our way to that first checkpoint, and it looks like it is going to fall without too much fanfare in favor of Bull Squids. The Whales do chase this Dynamo all the way out, though, and so no more pushing forward, although, of course, getting that first checkpoint makes it pushing significantly easier. Josh getting 2 with that Zuka, activating the Flow Aura, getting a 3rd with the main weapon, and going right under JP's Fine, but unfortunately the Booyah Bomb being thrown pretty much on top of their body means that there is no way to avoid it, and they will go down there. 3 down momentarily there for Bull Squids as Rowan University takes advantage of this. JP's Fine working their way back out towards mid, anticipating Josh, who is going for a flank there and gets immediately called out and taken out.
Yeah, huge watch there, but now it's Rowan that needs to find any offensive pressure even past mid, and that is something they've been struggling to find all game. Trying to find picks with this Trizuka and Booyah Bomb. Only one goes down. Leo backing up, playing this control game, and with that Tri-Stringer going down, though, that's going to make it a lot harder for Rowan.
Crazy Zuka shot again from Josh, who has the Flow Aura going. Sindline is going to put the cooler out in mid. Gold just barely living from those Dynamo shots, but even so, has the Aura, is going to push this forward. Mini Splatling going down. Rowan University taking this opportunity to bring it even more forward. Gold, though, forced to turn around, use a Zuka shot on an assailant, and not able to fully use the potential of the Zuka to push out more. But it's okay, because getting another pick on Josh. The tower, though, going all the way back to mid, so despite this, they're kind of back at square one. Again, though, going up onto that first checkpoint. Finally getting more points on the board as we head into our last minute here. Checkpoint 1, but it is being threatened by Josh, who gets both! Diving onto the tower, and the team comes in to finish that off with a wipeout. 67-61 is where we stand right now in our last 40 seconds of the game. That is a 6-point difference, and it is just that one checkpoint, just half a checkpoint that stands between Rowan University and a set victory.
One checkpoint, and that's all this game is at this point. Finding multiple down, though. Rowan back on the offensive. They're going to look for another late scoring chance to get this lead. JP's Fine getting that Flow Aura for themselves. Leo finding one, trying to roll right under this Trizuka of Gold. They're able to get the trade with that. JP's Fine hops on that tower, trying to keep this tower forward. Josh right beneath it is going to be the Dynamo, able to find a pick there. Josh hopping off it, keeping the rest of the members of Rowan off that tower, out of the way. Get out of here, give us a point on the board. University at Buffalo Bull Squids finding one.
3-1 now, so our set will continue on. You can see Rowan University doing everything they could in those final seconds to tap that tower, to have somebody on it, but they couldn't find the balance between staying on that tower and keeping their members alive, and in the end, it was decided for them that they would have neither.
Yeah, that they had a huge chance, but every single time it was always one member. This time, right here at the very end, it was Josh. 50 seconds left on the clock, and it's going to be the Dynamo to swing right in to clean up that final pick and set them up for victory here in this game. And right here at the very end, Josh just playing towards that tower, working with their teammates to cover it, and finds their way to victory, and this might be the turning point that the Bull Squids needed. They might have come into this a little bit rough. I'm not sure about their spring break schedule, but they might have just been returning from spring break, haven't had a chance to play out all week long, and now finally a few games in, they're warmed up now. They got that team play rolling, as we saw throughout that entire game and most of game 3 as well. It was Rowan at the very end able to take that one. But Clan Blitz, Inkblot Art Academy, momentum might not be as big of a favor in this one, but it's definitely going to help on those offensive pushes.
Well, we do see a comp switch here, bringing out the Tri-Slosher from Captain Yowie here, so running pretty much backless. And then, of course, I don't think we see any switches on the side of the Bull Squids. I will say Sinline's Dynamo gameplay has really delighted me this whole time. I've loved seeing how they use the huge coverage of this weapon, especially on that last tower game. It felt like they were always in the right place at the right time to cover that tower. I hope that they continue to have this good fortune in their coming match.
Yeah, they've definitely been playing this very well these past few games, and especially that last one. But this Booyah Bomb might cause some trouble early on, trying to make their way through, but it's going to be a retaliation attack here. 3 members going down on the side of Rowan, and it's going to be the Bull Squids once again getting an early advantage here. Ooh. Finding another with that Trizuka from Josh, and it's only Rowan able to control their plat and bats, but those whales are not going to help with that.
Yeah, Roy coming out with the Ultra Stamp as well. Captain Yowie counter-popping this Inkjet. Roy does get a pick, as does the Inkjet helping out with that there, so no push, question mark. We do see Leo Bloom trying to get something through, and does. Gets one power clam goes through. There's another one sitting there. It looks like it's being very guarded, and so with the single power clam, we see 77 for our first push here.
That power clam +1, bringing it down, giving an early lead for the Bull Squids, but it's going to be gold, finding one on that wall, 2 with that Trizuka, and add another for a quad for gold. Pass those clams to their teammates, get some points on the board, and now Rowan on the front foot. Gold looking for a flank out into that bats area, but all the clams is in the hands of JP's fine. They're able to get the lead. That Tri-Slosher grabbing that pity clam, jumping to Gold in that backfield, getting that clam in as well. 54 points remaining, and Gold is still up here causing chaos, finding 2 more.
Still here, getting another one. Can they get the pick on another wipeout coming from the hands of Gold here. That is their second this game and their third in this whole set. Has the Whale of Dessert Floor and another Inkzuka in their hands. Still in those bats. They cannot be cleared out. Finally, it takes 3 members of Bull Squids to take out Gold, and even then another power clam goes in, and Gold did find a pick for the road as well. Captain Yowie getting one pick there. Roy popping the entire Ultra Stamp for the whole throw to take out Captain Yowie. Yowie, there's just a never-ending onslaught from Rowan University here. It feels like 54 is a little bit low of a score to end that for all of the drama that push held. But of course, we're still going strong here. They have the cooler from the Tri-Slosher. They have another Inkzuka. Gold is in a great place to pop it. So should they so desire, gets one with their main weapon. Going down to the fall off, I believe, there from Roy, thus ending their reign of terror. But Roy, being alone here with the Ultra Stamp, gets one, looking for the second on Captain Yowie, who will, they will get the third as well, and a throw for the road as Roy, showing that Bull Squids, of course, also has this chaining potential, able to get the full triple out there, and Josh is going to follow up with the creation of a power clam, trying to force their way in through this ramp here. Gets the Zuka, there's 1 shot, there's 2 shot, the geometry of the stage not being kind at all. Roy hammering in, going down, and Josh gets the second one, and there is the lead as all of those clams go in. Leo Bloom going down, but Roy managing to live through that jump and jump right back out immediately. We head into the last match, or last minute of our match here with the scores 54 to 25. 25 especially being a very nice place to be in if you are the Bull Squids. So Rowan University has their work cut out for them. I don't know where I keep getting that from.
But that was a huge push there from the Bull Squids, and Josh able to clean another pick there as Rowan trying to make a push of their own for another time, but they're gonna get shut down with 35 seconds on the clock. One chance is all it takes here, and we've seen Rowan do it not once, but nearly twice at this point. So Josh looking to work with that hammer, but with their own Trizuka. 20 seconds left on that clock. They do have the pity clam in hand for Rowan University, but it's going to be the Dapples trying to go up that rail before getting shut down. Every pick matters at this point. 2v2 on the field. Captain Yowie with that Inkjet ready to go. They're the ones holding that power clam, so they need to find a way to move forward with that Booyah Bomb. But they're going to be a little bit slower with this. They're trying to work together as a team. One going down. That's going to be the Dapples, but Josh is trying to play around the mid. They're trying to play to shut down these power claim holders with that Trizuka. But that's going to be multiple down. It's going to be through the middle, but not in time. Just a little bit too slow. JP's Fine tries to open it up, but that Tri-Slotcher just a little bit too far behind to get that power clam into the basket.
Rowan University so close to the possibility of ending this set, but that clam spinning in the basket says no, we will continue on. Here's the triple from that hammer of Roy. Oh, just beautiful. I mean, we saw so many clusters of kills this game. 2 quads and a triple? Everybody make a wish, because this is not something that you see every day. I don't know whether these teams just like to cluster and fireball.
This push right here. This push right here.
Yes,
moving in with that hammer. Dynamo able to get it in. That was 3 power clams going into the basket to take the lead. Let's look at that one more time. Roy goes down with that, holding the power clam as the Dynamo rolls right in. Josh picks up that fallen power clam, and from the side will be Leo Bloom with that 3rd power clam going into the basket. That was the winning push of this game.
Yes, and here's Captain Yowie trying to get in. You can see the very menacing Ultra Stamp as well in the end screen there, but that ball just spinning in the end. I mean, I've had the exact same thing happen to me at Riptide, no less, where we were 2-2 in a set, and I threw in the clam and it spun, and we did lose the set. So that was unfortunate, but I feel you guys. I know how that feels. But I think Leo Bloom deciding to go from the uninkable ramp side, the left, instead of following their teammates up that shorter ramp, was really the game-winning decision there, just because I think so much fire and paint was focused on that right there that the two other members went down getting those power clams, and yes, but they did go down. And I think Leo Bloom would have gone down before getting that power clam in had they decided to take that route, but because they were on a different route and the enemies couldn't change their aim fast enough, they got it in.
Yeah, and we are now going back to splat zones. This is the mode that kind of tried to switch the tables in favor of the University at Buffalo Bull Squids early on here. They showed sides of light early on Barnacle and Dime, but now going to Mako Mart. The Bull Squids, they have the momentum getting the past 2 games. Let's see what happens here as the Incline Tri-Stringer with those super chumps rolls right back through.
Right back in, and we do see that Bull Squids get the first pick here. They look like they're going to continue it, although going 2 down. They have the hammer on the mini Splatling though, and Sunline going to pop the cooler on that left stack there. Roy coming out with the hammer, getting 1 pick, throwing, looking for a second. No, nothing there, but that is a-okay because the rest of their team is back. They're going to get right back in control of the zone. Take Leo Bloom going, getting a pick on Captain Yowie, and of course, Josh going aggressively. 3 down though, JP's Fine. Just barely surviving another flick from Sinline, who, I mean, the horizontal flicks on the zone here on Mako are just devastated. They put down so much paint so quickly, and so if Rowan University does not deal with Sinlight, they are going to find it very, very difficult to find that zone, although it's like they heard me. JP's Fine is going to go and take care of that.
And this is also why I love Explosher on this map. Dino plays
We
a
got the
very
Explo
similar way as well, where you can just keep paint on the zone at all times from a pretty safe distance as well. But getting a little bit nervous here, struggling to get back in, so they're going to work with the Ultra Stamp. Josh on this left side, though, unable to win a 1v1. 2 members down on the side of the Bull Squids, and now it's going to be Roy with that Dynamo on this left side. All the members of the Bull Squids are playing more central or left, but Josh now going out through this right side, trying to work with Leo Bloom, finding 2 members down. The zone is going to flip through a 3rd down. It's only Goldie on that bottom left side, and they're just going to say, hey, I'm out of here. Let's reset to get another retake.
Yeah, Goldie's been very smart on the jump outs this entire set. Sometimes the last one alive, but always managing to make it out of these situations alive, it seems. And that is huge because it means they keep their hands on their special. They did get a pick on Roy with that Zuka. Fortunately, going down to Josh, who anticipated the drop, it seems. Making their way all the way around to get attacks on behind and being a huge distraction here. As you can see, Goldie does get their revenge. Comes back and gets the pick here. 26-30 right now as that zone goes back and forth so rapidly, but Rowan University managing to keep their lead here and get the cap of the zone. Roy has this Ultra Stamp that is the only current special, though we get close to that Zuka as well for Bull Squids here. You can see the Zuka going out. Gold here cannot camp on that wall any longer because of the whales, forced to give up that position. You know Gold loves those little sharking flanks, but with the whales, you cannot keep that going. It's okay, though, because they're going to keep this paint going down, and the chumps also go out. Lots and lots of area control going down here. Roy a bit trapped in the middle of those chumps. Does manage to survive through, and that is 2 down on the side of Rowan, actually, forcing JP Spine to pop this Booyah in order to keep more control of mid. Just barely living through that bomb, but going down to Leo Bloom, who goes down again to Goldie, who finds themselves in the middle of that zone, backing out, somehow leaving alive again. Roy popping that Ultra Stamp and getting canceled. The Dynamo is still here. The Inkzuka coming out. We see a cooler as well from Bull Squids on the zone. Gold doing everything they can to avoid Josh, and going forward here with JP's Fine. We see the zone again going to a neutral and again going in favor of Rowan University. And it's just, it seems that the tale of this match is that Bull Squids gets into a favorable position, and Are You Ready is able to come back and shut them down and retake their position.
Yeah, and now it's going to be the Bull Squids once again. Another 3 down situation. Josh with that flow aura. There's a staggered 4th down, and now the Dynamo is going to play around the left side and the stack. Catch those ledges, keep paint down. 45 seconds on the clock, and not many penalty points to go before this lead is switched. There goes the killer whales. Trizuka ready to go from gold, and there it goes. 1, looking for a second, but not going to find that one. The Booyah Bomb will help out to try to get neutral. Gold ignoring the zone, just going in, finds 2 of their own, forces Azuka out on the other side, but the lead did switch over. 20 seconds left on the clock, and Are You Ready is going to get the jumps right back in to control this zone and try to find the lead of their own, but it's going to be the Bull Squids able to sneak right through, find another cap, apply more penalty. Josh now playing on the stack once again, finds 1, looking for another pick here, but 2 members down on side. The Bull Squids make that a full wipe overtime, and there isn't much before this lead changes.
That is a perfect wipe for Rowan University as they set themselves up here for overtime. Single-digit penalty points. Leo Bloom going all the way around this back stack here. We see will the long way pay off. It does not work ever, and that is another wipeout in favor of Rowan University. The Booyahs at the end to celebrate, and by just the skin of their teeth, they managed to pull through and clinch this set 4-2-2. And so we do not see the Bull Squids guaranteed their playoffs match, as now Rush University is able to... Rowan... Oh my goodness, I am so sorry, Rowan University. I don't know where I keep getting rushed from. Perhaps it's the way that they continuously rush down the zone here, as you can see, with Gold completely ignoring the objective, something that you would normally scream at your teammates for, but getting that double and opening the door wide for that zone recap. That is exactly why team play is so important, because you can trust your teammates teammates enough that you can go for the picks and that they can worry about the zone, or even vice versa, that you can worry about the zone and that your teammates will protect you. That's why we have coordinated play. That's why it matters so much. And the chain kills that Gold has been putting out are just incredible. And of course, the wipeout at the very end into the lead take, that is exactly what you want to see. We've seen some very cinematic wipeouts and moments from this set overall.
Yeah, and with playing against Gold a few times myself, Gold is one of those players where if they have momentum, if they get things going, they will just continue to run you down and see what works, what doesn't, and adapt on it to run you down from a different direction.
I mean, yeah, different direction, I feel, is the key phrase there, as we saw them take a lot of different flanks that I think cut flank into the quad on Manta being the most memorable of this set, but they love their directions, and I have to give them huge amounts of credit for that. But of course, Bull Squids had incredible moments as well, being in, I would say, dominant for a good portion of those games. I think with a lot of the playtime here, it definitely felt very half and half between these two teams.
Yeah, it was very strong by Are You Ready? A lot of the control base that Are You Ready had works pretty well, and they had control a lot of the time, and when they were on that defensive end, they definitely had the upper hand overall. So for now, let's look over to Rowan University, as we are going to have a nice little interview with Gold, one of the members of Are You Ready from Rowan. Gold, welcome in. How did you feel about tonight's matchup?
I was actually really nervous going into it. Honestly, like, it's been a long time since I played competitive Splatoon, and I'm way washed from when I used to play Splatoon 2. So it's definitely super exciting to get to play again. But no, my heart was definitely going during the set. I was getting those tournament jitters.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I also haven't played a lot since Splatoon 2, and I also get super nervous. But, whatever you did it right, because you and your team really pulled through for that. Now, of course, we as casters had our moments that we already talked about and highlighted, but are there any particular moments that stood out during the set for you that you want to talk about?
I was kind of racking my brain on the whole Haggle TC match, because they had really good momentum, and I'm sure you guys already talked about the crazy Manta finale there.
Oh yeah.
But I think it was one of the earlier matches. I got I think it was on Barnacle. I got a 6K, and I was super stoked about that. I was yes, I was so happy to get be having that on stream.
Yeah, and that must have been really, really exciting to have that as well, as you mentioned. But I want to go back to heading into this match. What your spring break is either just coming off, or you're a little bit back into classes at this point, correct?
Yeah, my spring break is just ending. Yeah,
so how much has Rowan played this past break?
We haven't played at all. We played on Monday. We played our week 3 match, which was pretty close and was also super intense. But we didn't unfortunately come out on top. But I've been playing nonstop. I think I've played only bulbs outside of this.
Wow, and you had a really great performance as a team here as
Thank
well.
you.
So props to you. Props to you and your team for going through that. And what was going through your mind when you did get that multiple kill, that multiple splat on Hagglefish, where you were like, oh, this is going to be one of the key moments to the game. I got so many picks here, and it helped out your team to push up.
I don't even know. To say that stuff goes through my mind is a little presumptuous, but it was just what's the next move, I suppose. I was trying to figure out, microanalyze, I guess, what position was to be taken next to keep them from coming back at us, especially on Haggle there, because they had such good defense there that Dynamo was doing a super destructive job.
Yeah, well, I have another question for you, actually, especially from our streamer Neptune, who wants to know, how do you feel about the Splattershot change in special points, going from 210 to 200?
I mean, I used to be a big Splattershot hater, but when I last played CCA in like fall of 2023, I got pushed onto that when I was an E-Leader player, and I like kind of fell in love with it. So now like it's one of my like flex go-tos. It works really well as an aggro, and what is it? It was like 180 to 190, or like vice versa. Special point change, I think. I didn't like super read the patch notes because I heard they were bad.
Well, I don't know if bad is the word that I would use for them. They're definitely, it's a mixed bag for sure.
Yeah. But for a lot of people, from what I hear, it's just not enough. Yeah,
I agree.
It's not bad, but it's not enough from my understanding of what other people are saying. But
honestly, I hold the opinion that like I think the heavy one is like that one cut a little bit for me, just because I feel like heavy didn't really need the paint buff in the first place, and now they're trying to kind of like now there's a special nerf, and it's like, okay, well, all it needs is a third kit. Heavy just needs a third kit, and it would thrive. But that's okay. That's just me as a heavy player.
No, I'd love to have Remix back.
Please give me remix. Heavy remix with Wall, Nintendo, if you can hear me.
But before you get into any closing things here, Gold, I want to ask you a little bit of a mindset question and positioning question here. When you find your way through, I do often see you looking one way, and then once you get shut down, you go the same way but in a slightly different path and shoot from a slightly different angle. Is there any sort of mindset that's keeping you away from going to the complete opposite side of the map, or going in the exact same path that you took?
That's really interesting. Well, in accordance with like my teammates, at least, like I'll know that like Rory or Gomi will be on like one side of the map, and my goal is to kind of just fill like the wall, I guess. And if I can like break in there, then that's great. But obviously, like putting myself directly into harm's way is really hard. It's about like finding the little cracks in their wall and I guess breaking my way in and subverting like their expectation of what a shot player is going to do is really important. Like playing like Charger, and especially just playing with and against shot for so long, I have like a pretty darn good like idea of what a shot would normally do. And my goal is to just do something a little different than that, because it's not so different that they can expect and react in time, but it's just enough that they will not be able to anticipate it, I suppose.
It's really cool to hear how you use your like experiences as a backline player to inform your experience as a shot player. I feel like with a lot of different flex players people that flex have different ways of going about it, and as somebody who cannot and does not flex at all, it's very interesting to hear about. Well, we're going to look forward for a little bit. Do you all know who you are facing next week? And if you do, you got any thoughts on the possible outcome of that match?
I have no idea.
Fair enough.
But, I can say that I'm super excited to keep playing, because getting to play Splatoon again it's just super fun. I've always loved competitive, and while it wasn't the nicest in the past, it's super fun to just play on the side, you know? Like when I'm pairing with my classes and everything, it's just nice to be able to play Splatoon again.
Yeah, that sounds very great, and so you next week for week number 4, you will be facing Niner Esports Gold.
Well,
okay,
Gold, look at that.
Yeah. There's a lot of gold teams.
Yeah, they are currently 1-1, similar to how you guys were heading into this week's matchup. But for now, Gold, thank you for showing up. Viewers, you can find me on Blue Sky, Twitter, whatever you want, and for my Blue Sky in particular, v4p0r.broadcastbeep.com. Send me over some amazing highlight clips. Gold, you should as well, from this set.
I know you got plenty, so
exactly. That was gorgeous. Chaedr, where can the viewers find you at?
You can find me similarly on Blue Sky at Chaedr.inkling.social or on Twitter at Chaedr_. Again, want to extend a huge thank you to Gold for joining us for this last part of the stream here, and a massive thank you to Neptune, our streamer, who without them, this would not have happened at all. But once again, thank you to all of you guys for coming out and watching tonight. Thank you to CCA for having us, and we will be back later on in the week with more CCA action, so keep your notifications on and stay tuned.
Stay fresh.